Welcome back, guys, to the Spurgeon Piper. This is Wilson with you. Now, pipe filters, what are they? Should I use them? What are the benefits? What are the cons? What type of pipe filters? These are the questions I often get. This is kind of in the box of all those basic questions that newer pipe smokers often ask, and I've been trying to cover these basic questions recently on the channel, so to help you guys. And today I'm going to have on Eddie Gray with the Pipe Nook. Many of you know Eddie Gray. He has his own YouTube channel, which I highly encourage you to check out. He's a very knowledgeable guy, wonderful to listen to, and he has his own pipe shop as well with an assortment of pipes and tobacco and, of course, filters. And so today in our conversation, I will have him on to discuss all these matters. And if you have further questions, be sure to ask either me or certainly him to get more insight on filters so you have a better pipe smoking experience. So, Eddie, I wanted to have you on for some time. I think you remember it was back in October of last year. I reached out, maybe to December, but of having a conversation about pipe filters, because I get a lot of questions on that. And that is, well, I feel inadequate on a lot of areas in pipe smoking, but that is definitely one that I quite greatly feel insufficient in knowledge, because my history pipe filters is I tried them a couple of times, different types, just one or two, and I didn't take to them, so I just stopped using them altogether, and that's really where it ended. So as more questions came in, I wanted to have someone on to cover that. I've gotten to know enough of you through your channel that you pretty much always use pipe filters. Is that correct?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Close to 95% or more, I would say, of my smokes are filtered
Gotcha.
smokes. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. So with that said, I thought, hey, let's get together on this, and that way you can help me out and help others out as well as you already have been. But so to begin, because I know there's going to be some who know so much on this, but there's going to be others who are very new to the idea of filters. What are pipe filters? Maybe what they look like? What are some of the different options that are out there that they're going to find?
So I've got some show and tell. This may be a little bit more than you wanted.
I like that. No, that's
But
exactly what I wanted. That's going to be very helpful.
I've made a video sort of similar to this on my channel. I know there's some overlap. Some people are subscribed to you that aren't subscribed to me, and vice versa.
Yes.
So it's good to have all this information out there on as many avenues as we can get it. Well, first off, before I show and talk about different kinds of filters, I did want to mention that, if you started smoking a pipe and don't have a need for a filter, this isn't for you at all. And there are plenty of people out there like that. And then there are some people that some blends will give them trouble with tongue bite. Just a few blends, and that's where pipe filters might come in handy for you. There are some people like me. I know I went for years and years trying my best to learn how to smoke a pipe and to do it right. So, but I always had an issue, no matter what methods I tried, how much I tried to slow down. I always had somewhat of an issue with tongue bite. And that is the primary reason that I recommend pipe filters, particularly to new pipe smokers. You can always smoke a filtered pipe without a filter in place and see if it bothers your tongue or the inside of your mouth. You can't go the other way. There are some things you can do, and we'll get to that, but you can't shove a pipe filter in an unfiltered pipe, if that makes sense.
Right.
So anyway, there's a lot of different kinds of pipe filters on the market. At the Pipe Nook, I carry 4 different brands. And then I've got some stuff I wanted to show that I don't carry, just because it's out there for those of you who might be interested. I'm going to go first off with the filters that I use and recommend. This is a 9mm charcoal, barrel style filter. It's got paper on the outside, It's got, what is this, ceramic ends on each end, and there's little bits of charcoal inside. And then Savinelli also makes a 6 millimeter version because, a lot of their pipes are 6 millimeter filtered. So
So
just a
real quick
little
on
bit.
that, uh,
Yeah,
just to clarify for others, there's 6 millimeter and 9 millimeter. Those are some of the two main sizes.
those are the
Right.
primary sizes. So
Okay.
the 9 millimeter filters will fit a lot of pipes like rat race pipes, some Peterson pipes, Valen. There's in the European market, 9 millimeter is the main size that you'll see for
Yeah.
pipe filters. The 6 millimeters are more considered an American size, even though
Okay.
Savinelli makes a lot of 6 millimeter filtered pipes. In Europe, I think they mostly sell 9 millimeter filtered pipes, but here in the States, probably because of Dr. Graybo and Missouri Meerschaum and Medico, those companies all use the 6 millimeter filter size.
Okay. Okay.
So that would be the difference. It's really just a size difference, and it's a pretty small size difference. I wish they
Yeah.
were all universal.
That would be
Um,
helpful. And I'll
yeah,
show on my end that I do have a Valen. I've had people point out this pipe, put my pipe down, point out this pipe before. This is a newer one I've had for a couple months, and it does have the 9 mil. Uh, Dr. Pearl, is that coming up? No, it's not. It's going to be all blurry.
yeah.
Uh, Dr. Pearl, and it's a very similar ceramic end, just like he showed you with the Savinelli. So
Yeah.
anyway, continue on.
So those are the ones that I highly recommend, the charcoal filters. Um,
Okay.
there are other types of filters. This is a standard Missouri Meerschaum Legend corncob pipe. It comes with a paper filter. Um, it's just got a little, I don't know, uh, plastic on the outside and paper on the inside. Uh, all filters, including this paper filter, will take out a bit of excess moisture from the smoke. And sometimes, some people, that's all they need is just that little bit of help. Or sometimes they just don't want a soggy pipe. That's where pipe filters come in too. Um, but you can fit a Savinelli 6 millimeter charcoal filter in most Missouri Meerschaum filtered pipes. Sometimes you'll get one that's kind of cantankerous, but here's a Savinelli 6 millimeter filter. It just barely goes in, but it
Hmm.
works. Um, and I tell people if you wind up with a Missouri Meerschaum bit that won't fit the Savinelli filter, and you want to use those charcoal filters, just buy an extra bit because the tolerances are just so small. Sometimes you might get one where you just can't fit that charcoal
Yeah.
filter in. Um, there are a lot of different brands for 9 millimeter charcoal filters. You've got the one you had there, what was it, the Pearl,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
Stanwell, Peterson, White Elephant, and Savinelli.
And they're all
Savinelli's
interchangeable, just about, correct?
yeah, they're all pretty much interchangeable.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Um, the Savinelli is the only 6 millimeter charcoal filter that currently I use and recommend. White Elephant makes some 6 millimeter filters, but people tend to complain about them being too constrictive.
Hmm.
And it's not with every filter, but it might be every 2 or 3 filters you'll have trouble with
Yeah.
that. So I don't carry those anymore. Um, in addition, White Elephant also makes meerschaum, like crushed meerschaum filters. I don't think those work quite as well, so I don't carry those. But some people, again, that might be all they need. It's just a little bit of help. Savinelli also makes balsa filters, and these are the standards that you'll see. This is a 6 millimeter balsa filter with that triangular shape. I don't know if that's coming through.
It
And
is.
then this is a 9 millimeter balsa filter. It's got a lot more surface area because they do these weird curvatures.
Hmm.
Um, Balsa filters also, will remove excess moisture. They don't tend to help me with tongue bite. And again, that's kind of my primary reason for using filters in the first place. So that's why I go primarily with charcoal filters. That kind of begs the question. I don't want to take over. I'm sure you have some questions for me, but
Continue.
um, you know, why would you use a filter? And again, for me, primarily,
Yes.
it's tongue bite. And I feel like a lot of people try pipe smoking, people that do have issues with tongue bite, they think that smoking just any pipe, an unfiltered pipe that burns their mouth, that's the pipe smoking experience. And even if they try it for a little
Yeah.
while, they still experience that tongue bite. They finally just give up on it without trying filters. So that's kind of why I kind of harp on pipe filters, particularly for new pipe smokers.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people just don't want to wait 10 minutes or whatever for wet pipe tobacco as well. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they, so a lot of people talk about drying out your pipe tobacco a bit before you load it and light it. Pipe filter with a pipe filter, you don't have to worry about that quite as much because that filter is going to take some of that excess moisture out of the smoke. So yeah, I've got some other stuff I could show you guys later, but do you have any other questions in the meantime?
No, I think that that's a good place to start where you covered some of the main ones I'll run into and why. And I think that's often where the confusion is okay, well, is it health reasons? Why would I need one? And maybe there is, and you might have more insight on that. I don't know if you're really being benefited with health or any way with possible uh
Yeah.
health benefits.
So that's a slippery slope, and
Yeah,
we have to provide the disclaimer that we are not medical professionals. Um,
precisely. Yes.
so we can't give medical advice, but I will say that in addition to the moisture, particularly charcoal filters, and to a lesser extent, the paper and the balsa filters will take out some of the nicotine, some of the nicotine. It'll take out some tars and other, things that are present in
Yeah.
combustible items in the smoke of
Right.
those combustibles. Um, so I would say for me personally, I think there is a slight health benefit to that. But even more than that, uh, if you're one of the unfortunates that no matter what you do, you suffer from tongue bite, that is a chemical burn inside the interior of your mouth. And
Yeah.
that is not a healthy thing to do if you smoke every
Yeah.
day or
Yeah.
even every week. So it's just good to mitigate that risk
Good
of
point.
those burns over and over again.
Good point. I will throw out, and I don't know if you have any on you. Uh, I have one Brigham pipe,
Mhm.
and Brigham is known for their rock maple uh, distillators, I guess is what they call them.
Mhm.
They look as such where they have this. I was going to say maybe it's aluminum in. It's a cap, and you can reuse these multiple times. Maybe that's something else that we need to get to in a moment. But as far as how often you can use a pipe, I mean a filter, but
Mhm.
I have used these. I have to say, out of all of the filters I've used so far, this is one I've enjoyed in the sense that I feel it hasn't taken away it hasn't added any type of flavoring, which
Mm.
I have experienced, or it hasn't taken any away. Anyway, that's another type that I have used, and it's one of three now that I have experience with. But I wanted to
Yeah.
show the Brigham Rock Maple distillators.
Yeah, and we can talk about those a little bit. Ice cream trucks going by if you're hearing that. But so I also have one Brigham pipe,
Okay.
this bent acorn, and just to show off this ginormous tenon that the Brighams
Yes.
have. And yeah, that Brigham rock maple distillator is just a maple tube that just fits in there, and then that
There you go.
aluminum cap goes right there. And I think it is on par with balsa filters, maybe slightly better for temperature control
Mm,
because of that metal end, which I think that's why stingers came to prominence back in what, the 50s or 60s, to help with
yeah.
just smoke temperature. Um, and
Have you had have you had any issues with those getting caught in the tenon?
the Brighams you're talking
Yes.
about?
Yes. Those
No,
filters? Okay.
no, but I don't use these often.
Right. Okay.
Um,
That was what the pipe I have, that was my main, see if I can get it real quick. That was my main frustration and
mm,
why I almost stopped using them altogether was, in fact, it has one in here. And right now, oh, it came out. But when I start using it regularly, it
yeah.
will just get stuck. And I had to pretty much get a plier at one point and just crush one and get it out of my pipe. So anyway,
Mm,
that could be a very limited anecdotal experience. I don't want to say that's going to happen if someone uses a Brigham pipe. Obviously,
yeah.
you don't have that. You haven't had that experience. So I
Well,
just
and but
make that clear.
I will tell you I have a pair of needle nose pliers right here next to where I smoke. I use these to get all of my filters out when I'm finished with them, no matter what they are, just because
Gotcha.
they get nasty. I don't want to get my hands
Yeah.
dirty. But sometimes you will have even a charcoal filter get stuck in the tenon of a pipe, and this just helps. You can just like grab it on that cap and just twist it out.
Yeah.
Um, I have had a few pipes that I got to be real careful when I put the filter in place because it'll just get cinched up inside that stem, and that can be a nuisance. But
Yeah.
typically,
Definitely.
that's not an issue.
Hmm. So you covered this a bit. Not all pipes can take pipe filters. I know there's going to be some beginners out there who are like, oh, well, it sounds like I want to try a filter. It sounds like a
Mhm.
good idea, but not all pipes take filters. Just to be clear, I
Right.
don't know if I'll just show you an example. I know there are some you're brand new to it. You don't know what it looks like. You're going to have a lot of pipes who have this the narrow tenon. Uh, Man, I know it's not going to catch you so well, but my, my camera's not going to want to focus. But uh, you do need to check to make sure your pipe, if it's suited, if the tenon is suited to have a filter inserted or not. So I just want to make sure you are aware of that.
Yeah. If you buy online, that should be specified. If you look in the
Yeah,
specifications, it'll tell you if it's an unfiltered or non-filtered pipe. Those are kind of both terms are used. Or it'll say filter type 6 millimeter or 9 millimeter. Um, Now, I've had some people who started with non-filtered pipes, and when they found out about filtered pipes, that's all they're smoking these days, and that's all they're buying. But uh, they've got two or three or even more pipes that are non-filtered. I know I do, but I never smoke for that reason. There are some things on the market to help with that. Um, do you want to go over those real quick?
do it. Yes, please do.
So this is something I do not carry, but just so you know, it's on the market. Nording
Mhm.
makes these keystones, which they're volcanic stones, just little pebbles, and you put them in the bottom of the bowl before you load your tobacco,
Yeah,
and they're helpful with mostly moisture. They don't really help me much with tongue bite. Um, Dinacool is a company that makes these silicate filter crystals, and they're the same idea. I don't know the best way to show these.
mm.
They're the same idea as the keystones. They just go in the bottom of your pipe bowl. Now, kind of the detractor to that is it takes up some of your real estate, so you don't get a full bowl of pipe
Right,
tobacco.
right.
Um, but those are available. I do carry the Dynacools. I think they work a little bit better than the Nordings Keystones. This is something I kind of hesitate to show, because you can't find these anywhere. This is a
Hmm.
Shero filt pad. It's basically just a piece of chalk that's been formed to fit on the bottom of your bowl. If you
I've never
guys
seen those
know where to,
before.
yeah, if you know where to find these, anyone out there, leave a comment and let us know
Yeah,
because uh,
definitely.
availability seems to have dried up. So I don't know if these are on the market at all anymore. Um, but again, they work similarly to the Norden Keystones. The Denicool crystal filters, I think, work a little bit better for tongue bite. Um, so that's why I carry those at the moment. But
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So if you go on Amazon or a site like that, you might come across off-brand or brands of filters that you aren't familiar with. I don't recommend those because you never know where they're made or what they're made of.
That's good. Yeah, good advice.
Yeah, so like this is a I don't want to show the brand name, but this is a pipe filter. You can see it's a little bit smaller than a standard filter that I've been showing. Here's a Savinelli. Gosh, here we go. There's a Savinelli versus that off-brand. And so there's not as much charcoal in this smaller filter. Thus, it doesn't work quite as well. And these are real easy to get lodged in your pipe because they're shorter. Not only that, those are made with coconut uh, charcoal. Um, it's actually burned coconut shells that they turn into charcoal. You might see that in some other brands, and it just doesn't work as well for tongue bite in my experience. But you will see those on the market. And I think that's the brunt of my show and tell. So,
So you prefer the Dr. Pearl, Dr. Grabo ceramic style. Is that correct?
well, the Dr. Grabo filters are typically paper filters.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, yes. Sorry. So yeah, Dr. Pearl, the ceramic Savinelli, Peterson.
Savinelli, Peterson, Vowen,
Yeah. Okay.
White Elephant,
Gotcha.
Stanwell. There's a lot of them out there. Um,
How how often? This was a question I really don't even have an answer other than trial and error myself. How
yeah.
often do you use or reuse the filters? One filter.
So for me personally, and this was, I've tried reusing filters, but for me, I've come to be just one and done. Filters are
Okay.
about, depending on the quantity you buy them in, they're anywhere from 17 cents to 50 cents per filter.
Yeah.
Um, so I just chalk it up as the cost of smoking for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to smoke as much as I do. Um, but I have had customers say they'll reuse them a couple times, three or even up to four times. And what you want to do is make sure they're completely dry. Take it out of the pipe, let it dry before you try to use it again.
Good advice. So
Yeah.
on my side, I'll say for instance, I have a rat race pipe that I use a pipe filter with. What I just lost because I think my toddler came into my office and took it, and I can't find it. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed on that right now. But so I do have a rat race pipe that takes a Vowen filter, so 6 millimeter, or excuse me, 9 millimeter, but also my Vowen pipe here. Uh, I have done two, and occasionally three times I've reused them. And three times is just I can tell, no, this is not ideal. But I have been regularly using them twice before I change it out. So I probably will continue that, but I will echo your encouragement on take it out, let it dry if you're going to try to reuse it more than once. And I think most probably don't smoke as much as you and I do in a day, Eddie. So it's probably best you just go with one and done. But if you're someone who smokes several times at least in a day, you could try trying or smoking them more than once and see
Yeah.
how that does. But yeah, let it dry out before you you try to use it again.
Yeah, I just find that when I try to reuse them, some of that ashy taste from the bottom of the previous bowl is in that filter. So if you want
Yes.
the most
Yeah.
pristine tobacco taste that you can get from a filter, I would just do one smoke. But
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
your mileage may vary.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, so the last thing to cover that's least on my list that I wanted to touch on. What are, and we've already covered this a bit, benefits, but maybe what are some drawbacks you would say to using filters?
Well, the primary detriment to you to falling in love, so to speak, with pipe filters, which I have plenty of customers that are like that. They heard me harp on pipe filters so much, they finally tried one, and now that's all they smoke. And they're like, "Thank you for saving me from years of frustration." Um, the detriment is that limits pretty significantly your choices in pipes if you want to go with
Mm.
filtered pipes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So there are plenty of gorgeous artisan pipes out there, and plenty of other so-called factory pipe makers that don't make uh, filtered pipes. Most of their offerings are unfiltered. That's drag. I love the look of Peterson Dracula pipes, but if you want a Dracula pipe, that thing's going to be unfiltered, at least
Mm.
here in the States. Um, I've found that Peterson does offer 9 millimeter filtered pipes in Europe,
Mm.
but at the moment they only offer a handful of series here in the States that are 9 millimeter filtered, and I carry all of those. Um, the but again, the benefits mostly are uh, particularly like with aromatics, they tend to be the most moist pipe tobaccos.
Yeah.
If you don't want to wait 10-15 minutes for some pipe tobacco to dry, you can use a filtered pipe. It'll take out some of that excess moisture from the smoke. And if you don't normally have an issue with tongue bite, but on occasion you've got those particular blends that will nip at you, a filtered pipe in your rotation would help with that. But
Yeah.
again, people like me, no matter what you try, you're going to have that issue with
Right.
tongue bite.
Right.
Definitely pipe filters. If I hadn't found that aha moment with charcoal pipe filters, I'd only be smoking once a month, if that, because it was just too
Mm.
much of a frustration for me.
Right. Right.
Now with charcoal filters, I can smoke, 3 to 5 times a day sometimes and not have an issue at all.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That's good. So some kind of final encouragements and recommendations. If you already have pipes, but you're really interested in trying filters, maybe you're having issues that Eddie addressed where you're getting some tongue bite, or if you're concerned about some health concerns. I have done this, and I'm going to stick with this. I do have two, and I'll probably add more to my rotation. I have a 20 pipe rotation. Um, Add in some filtered pipes. Check out the Pipe Nook, which carries some excellent Peterson Savinelli brands that carry filter pipes. Add them to your collection and give them a try and see how you respond to it. Especially, as he said, with aromatic pipes, or aromatics pipe tobacco. Um, and there's even some other burley blends for some reason. I don't know what happens. There's a few blends out there that for some reason they just are more wet for me, and I do pull for my filtered pipes for that reason. So give them a try and see how you respond to them. I have not been a pipe filter guy in the past, but I have grown more fond of them, and I'm glad I have some in my rotation. So
good deal.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Eddie, that's all I have. I think we covered a good handful of just the basics. If you have questions, I want to encourage you. Of course, feel free to reach out to me, but I want to encourage you to go to the Pipe Nook's website and especially YouTube page. where you'll find more information. Eddie is the guy to go to for a lot of these questions on anything pipe related, but especially if you have filter questions, go to him. His website has all that, the material you need, the accessories, the filters, and pipes. I know you'll greatly be benefited on the information and the products he has in store. So, brother, thank you again for hopping on and covering it. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. All right, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Until then, we'll talk to you very soon.